Aloha to all of you, it's me, the Traveling Bee. Grab your wings, let's go for a trip. We'll be taking a trip to the east side of Kaua'I today. You'll see where King Kong was filmed in the 1970s. Welcome to Hawaii. Our trip today takes us to East Kaua'I, to the town of Kapa'A and Anahola. All right, how many of you remember John Weiland and his famous paintings? We are down at the Waipoli area, and the clock tower was painted by John Weiland. And also the side of the building, the side of Ross behind me, is also painted facing the highway. And our most famous store in Hawaii, the ABC store. Don't forget to save your receipts. $100 or more gets you a free gift. And my aunt is eating a sushi plate from Zumo Sushi and enjoying it. We're going to head up a little further north to the town of Anahola, where the 1970s version of King Kong was filmed with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange. Many other movies filmed on the island, such as Raiders of the Lost Ark, 7 Days and 6 Nights, and Dragonfly with Kevin Costner, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, and Blue Hawaii, just to name a few. The east side is also home to the Coconut Coast. And remember the movie... And remember Honeymoon in Vegas with Nicolas Cage and James Caan, where he's saying, or asking on the phone, is this Kapa'A or Kapa'A? And let's not forget Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito in Throw Mama from the Train. It's Jimmy's Grill on the beach in Kapa'A by the beach path. The beach path is at least 2 miles long from the Lihue side of Kapa'A all the way down to Keālia and beyond, because it was an old sugarcane field haul road. It's a couple of miles long, and you can walk, jog, or walk your dog along the beach path there every morning. As you walk down the old sugarcane road in Keālia, which means encrusted salt, you'll find ancient old boulders that have little indentations in them, so that when the sea spray or the ocean water gets in them and dries and evaporates, it makes salt. And that's what Keālia means, encrusted salt. I used to live just up the valley here along the riverside in Keāpana, which the Keālia River comes out to the Keālia Beach. Keāpana Valley is one of the most beautiful valleys you'll be in here on Kaua'I. And at the top of our property, at the top of the pasture hill, we could see an expansive view of Kapa'A, Keālia, and the shoreline. Keāpana is an old taro growing valley, but it was used for sugar plantations in more recent times. Now, for those of you who want to swim down here at Keālia Beach, we recommend the northern side, because as you approach any river mouth at any of the beaches, the current is much stronger. So anytime you see bridges at the river mouth, that's where you want to stay away from. Just down the road here, we have the lifeguard tower and a bay area of the beach that is more productive for swimming. Eastside beaches are rugged and rough, so you want to be sure you swim where there are lifeguard towers. We have the pool off up here on the right, and as you go further to the left side of the beach area, it's easier to swim. We call it the baby beach area, and as you can see, we have a lifeguard down here. It's always safe to swim and surf where there's a lifeguard. Welcome to wonderful Anahola! Ki e kalale kamakani o kapali kaolana a o Anahola no hui hoe ka ohu no e na pali a he nani maoli no mai o a o. Here, this is the famous Kalalea Mountain. You may have seen it in movies such as Tropic Thunder and other movies filmed here on Kaua'I. The second peak looks like King Kong, they say, so they call this Kong Mountain. And the first peak that you see going up, some people say it looks like a turtle climbing up the hill. This is where the 1970s version of King Kong was filmed. And like Diamond Head is to Oahu, Kalalea Mountain is to Kaua'I. Towards the second peak is a hole in the mountain. Supernatural bird Halo is said to have made the hole to see the people and what they were doing. And a Kaua'I hero named Kavelo threw a spear through that hole. Now don't blink or you'll miss the center of Anahola town. If you need to make a stop for drinks or food, this will be the last spot before you get up to Kilauea or the papaya stand in Moloa'a. Oh yeah, everybody loves stopping at Dwayne's Ono Burgers for not only burgers, but they got fried shrimp, they got some awesome food. Plan your trip to Anahola for some Dwayne's Ono Burgers today. We're going to make a right-hand turn down here to go to the beach. This is known as Aliomanu. We're going down to Aliomanu, and there's lots of history down here. It's a beautiful sandy beach area with a canoe club, and we have had seals down here basking in the sun, and at night, in the afternoons, turtles coming up on shore to rest after a day eating the limu or seaweed and escaping the tiger sharks. As a hula dancer, we were required to collect certain types of shells, and one night when I was down here trying to collect some, I found myself in a sea of turtles on the beach. This is a most spectacular area to be if you enjoy stargazing and eclipses. It's so dark down here that you can see probably the faintest star. We have a sandbar that goes across the river mouth down here, but you want to make sure that there's been no recent heavy rainfall and that the sandbar is visible above water. And you can cross right over to the other side. Hey, aloha to all of you. It's me, the Traveling Bee. We're down in Anahola. Anahola means fish poison cave, as there were some plants that would poison the fish to stun them to come up to the top of the surface of the water so that they could be collected and eaten. And you see we have a lot of rock shelves that come out over here. And one day while I was swimming out here, I did not realize that a mother monk seal, was just basking in the sun down there until I got closer to it and was surprised. Oh my goodness, I'm swimming towards a seal. Not supposed to do that. And on the other side of the bay is the camping area and the beach park. But let me tell you something, folks. You go out swimming on the east side of the islands here, let me just tell you, if it's not blocked off, if it's not walled off by like fish pond rocks, you're going to feel like you have been at a bar and the bouncer kicked you out. That's what the waves are. They're bouncers at a bar. You keep wanting to go in, they say, no, you don't, and they push you out. I had to literally tell somebody how to swim their way out of the tide, the rip tide over there, and ride in those white waves and, to make sure that they got it back on land. But the east side of the island is no joke. There's nothing between us and the coast of California, and you literally feel roughed up when you come out of these kinds of waters. But, the kids that grow up here, they give them, as we say. They're rough. They go out there in those rough wave conditions and they surf them in. Can you believe that? But, those are people that have grown up here, that have family for generations, that are familiar with the water conditions down here. This is a fishing village. This is an area where they're known for their seaweed, which was often eaten, called limu kohu. Now that grows all throughout the islands, but some people say that the limu kohu down here in Anahola was the best. And that also includes from here a little bit further north to Kapa'A Bay. Now, there's two things I want to say. Let me start off with, I don't want to sugarcoat things. I want to, express my experiences here in the Hawaiian Islands. Let's talk about the limu first. Towards Kapa'A Bay, which is just a little bit north of here, going towards Honolulu, we have a landowner that had some of the old ditches or the old reservoirs from the sugarcane plantations, in which they got full and came down the mountain like a tsunami and killed some people. And he's also the same man that had the land graded at those areas along the northern part of Anahola, going up north, Kapa'A Bay, Pila'a. He owned some property at Moloa'a Bay. He did not get a permit from the county to grade the land, and as a result of removing all the trees and shrubbery and seashore vegetation, the line, all the mud went into the ocean and killed the lemur and the coral reef. And of course, that is frowned upon, to say the least. And another thing that I experienced in Kapa'A was a family who just arrived from East Europe, and the father drowned right in front of us, because sometimes hotels don't tell you that they're on a beach that is not a swimmable beach. And certainly the beach that we were at a little bit further south was not a swimming beach. It was a fisherman's beach for throw net and pole fishing. But sometimes you have to really research the areas, because even though we're islands with beaches all around, not all beaches are swimmable. And so my biggest suggestion to all visitors and newcomers to the islands, the Malihini, is to always swim at a beach where there is a lifeguard in the area, because many people don't realize we are not like the East or the West Coast with thousands of miles of coastline. We are just a tiny dot of land out in the middle of the big Pacific Ocean. Another danger that lurks here down in Anahola Bay are the mano, or the sharks. And we have tiger sharks here in the Hawaiian Islands, and we have some history about that with this particular name, Aliomanu. Now, back in the day, the kids used to play a game where they would throw a pebble into the ocean, dive down, look for it, and bring it up. The one who brings it up is the winner. But the king of the sharks was bothering them. So the people then made a basket to capture the shark and drag him on shore. And so they did. And when they dragged him on shore, his carcass was eaten by the birds of the area. That's why it's called Ali, which means to dig, or manu of the bird, meaning the bird is digging out what it can to eat of the shark carcass, thus the name Aliomanu. A lot of people might not know that Anahola was a pineapple growing area. And Keālia, which is the river that we drove by at Keālia Beach, just up the street from there was the old pineapple cannery. So this was the pineapple area. Sugarcane was grown in other areas of the island. And some of the land here in Anahola is set aside for Hawaiian homesteading. Many Hawaiians were dispossessed of their land. Therefore, Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalanianaole was very instrumental in creating the Native Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, passed in 1921 by Congress and signed into law by President Harding. Prince Kuhio was well aware of recognizing the importance of land ownership for revitalizing his people. Between 1778, when Captain Cook first arrived, and 1893, the overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom, over 80% of the Hawaiian people had died from diseases that they had no immunization to. They were now losing their land to sugar plantation buyers, such as the missionaries and their children. And therefore, over 200,000 acres of land were set aside for the purpose of giving to the Hawaiian people, Native Hawaiians of 50% or more blood, to homestead. To this day, there are many Hawaiians that have died waiting for their land. And there are still many more people on the list. And if your children aren't 50% or more, they don't inherit the land after you die. And that's a sad thing when, again, colonization is a microcosm of what was going on in the world. And in the Pacific especially, there was a simultaneous grab for power from the four major countries: the United States, the UK, Germany, and France. They were all trying to obtain land for naval bases. Now you're looking out at Makaleha Mountain, and this area used to be a rodeo area not too long ago. And this is the river valley that I used to have a house in. And you can see it's just beautiful. And as we approach the river mouth over the bridge here, you can see that it's a beautiful stretch of sand beach. And once again, from the top of the property that I lived on, you could see all the way down through the river valley. We're coming up at Keālia River. I just lived around the bend to the right. It was the most magnificent view of the east side ever, with the beautiful Makaleha Mountain in the background and Mount Wai'ale'ale, the wettest spot on earth. Kapa'A is one of the most populated areas of the island. As you can see, it's a beautiful day with blue skies and white puffy clouds. And it's hot, folks. It's always hot on the east side until maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on what season it is. It can be cool in the afternoon, but that doesn't stop you from surfing or going for a nice swim in the afternoon. This is our medical cannabis dispensary. If you already have a medical cannabis card, you can apply to the Hawaii State Department of Health for a temporary one before you come here. And we have the popular Bubba Burgers right here next to the Miura store, Deja Vu, for all your surf needs. And across the street from us is the ballpark where most of our festivities take place. Now, the first Friday of every month is the block party, so to speak, and you can find a party down here, especially at Mariachi's. Best Mexican food on Kaua'I. Ask for a chimichanga. And you know what's coming up on the corner. It's the ABC shop on the corner in Kapa'A, down the street from the glass shop on the corner in Kapa'A. And for those of you looking for a similar place like Paia Maui, we have Kapa'A. This is as close as it gets, other than driving to the north shore of Honolulu, which I absolutely love. So don't be afraid to get out and explore our entire island from the north side all the way out to the west side. The only place you can't drive is the Napali coast. For that, you have to go by boat, you gotta hike, or you have to take a helicopter. So don't miss the biggest town other than Lihue. When you visit Kaua'I, there's so many wonderful stores, restaurants, and the views are incredible, like this one here. This is No Mountain, known as the Sleeping Giant. He fell asleep at a luau. His name was Aikanaka, which means cannibals. And he never woke up. And we are approaching the most sacred area in all of the Hawaiian Islands, Wailua, and the Cocoa Palms Resort in which Blue Hawaii with Elvis Presley was made very popular. Sadly, the Cocoa Palms was destroyed in 1992 by Hurricane Iniki. It has been in the midst of being renovated, but it's always changing hands. And so perhaps it should be given back to the Hawaiian people, because this is the most sacred area in all of Hawaii. The word waiwai, which means fresh water but also means wealth, is important here because it provided more fresh water than any of the other rivers on the other islands. This is the only navigable river in the Hawaiian Islands, and this is where the Tahitian priest Mo'ikeha arrived from Tahiti. And so this property, as sacred as it is, should go back to the Hawaiian people. And here we go over the most sacred river in all of Hawaii that comes down from Mount Wai'ale'ale, Wailua River. And coming up are the rock walls of the Malai Heiau, which is a temple that was used to sacrifice humans during the season of war. This is one of the most sacred places from down at the river mouth of Wailua all the way up to Mount Wai'ale'ale, where there are many temples. Here we come up on the Heiau now, which has recently just been cleared, and it is kapu, or forbidden, to go there. we'd be wearing Fat Jimmies of Hawaii. Don't just be fat, be comfortable. Traveling Bee trips are filmed entirely on location in Hawaii. And a big mahalo nui loa to all of you for joining me, the Traveling Bee, for another exciting trip. And remember, folks, you don't need to live in Hawaii to share the aloha. Show a shaka and share the aloha spirit. The shaka sign is the official gesture for the state of Hawaii. Hawaii is the only state to have an official gesture. And remember, folks, until we meet again, a hui ho and aloha!